We present Direct Paint, an interactive system for painting in space and time. We explore the problem of space-time manipulation and present trajectory-based techniques for fluid manipulation of space and time. In current tools, spatial and temporal domains are separate. The user must first perform interactions in space, then apply keyframing on the timeline to propagate their spatial manipulations over time. Instead, we utilize motion trajectories on objects to support more direct interactions for controlling space and time. Using object trajectories, we contextualize time in relation to the object itself, and we can propagate along these trajectories to define which parts of the timeline to apply animations. Our techniques can be applied to various space-time control contexts. In this flowchart example, given the ball's trajectory, we can directly specify where we want to animate different properties such as color in relation to the ball's motion. In this kinetic typography example, we use the trajectory of text to create a color transition. Then we use it to adjust the text opacity through time. In this vector animation example, we use the trajectory to change the size of the ball and the positional offset of the character. We introduce a design space for space-time manipulation and demonstrate here 3 space-time trajectory control techniques in the context of video painting in Direct Paint. Direct Paint offers a full video painting system which includes trajectory navigation as well as a timeline augmented with a color script and thumbnail to provide feedback supporting our trajectory-based propagation controls. We illustrate our techniques with a pressure-sensitive tablet. In the travel technique, the paint stroke is first painted in space, then a pressure threshold delimiter brings up the trajectory and allows us to then simultaneously navigate along the trajectory to propagate the stroke in time. Similarly, in the trace technique, the paint stroke is first painted in space, then a pressure threshold delimiter brings up the trajectory and allows us to paint on the trajectory the fragments in time that the stroke will be visible. In the window technique, pressure is used to parameterize the propagation window of each point along the stroke. The harder you push, the further in time the stroke will propagate. Direct Paint also offers bimanual multi-touch counterparts for each of these 3 techniques. Direct Paint also supports the selection of strokes for repropagation, and there is an orthogonal controller for dynamic editing of visual properties during the travel propagation technique, such as opacity or positional offset. The following illustrates samples from users applying different brushes to provide various stylistic effects. By bringing together spatial and temporal control in a cohesive interaction, Direct Paint allows for fluid space-time editing that facilitates the creative process and opens up new opportunities for artistic expression.